might have noticed that I'm sitting in a little bit of a different spot in my room today. It's my bookcase! Woo! Bookcase! And I'm very excited today because I am going to do book reviews. That's right, book reviews. Not just one book review, but six. Six book reviews. That's a lot of books. In the last 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, I've read 6 young adult books. And my only advice to everyone out there is don't read 6 young adult books in less than 2 weeks. You will be an emotional wreck at the end of your journey. I mean, unless you have to for your job or something. So, let's see what's on the bookshelf, shall we? As you can see, my bookshelf is mainly organized. I have literature on the top shelf and young adult on the bottom shelf. I only have 6 young adult books right now because this is my college bookshelf and I couldn't really bring that many books with me. There is this Jane Austen anthology, but it has a shelf of its own. So, the first book I read was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, Mariah, why didn't you read it sooner? I don't know. I think it had something to do with NaNoWriMo, maybe? I don't know. This book is the epitome of awesome, and that is why I read it first. I love you, Catching Fire. I love you so hard. Catching Fire is the sequel to The Hunger Games, in which Katniss and Peeta have to go through the Hunger Games. In Catching Fire, there's a rebellion about to start, and Katniss is at the center of the revolution. Oh, snap. I'm not gonna go into the whole Team Peeta or Team Gale thing. Team Peeta, Team Peeta. I thought it was an awesome sequel to The Hunger Games, and I can't wait for the 3rd book to come out this summer. The second book I read was Lips Touch by Laini Taylor. Good job, Mariah. You're so good at butchering names like that. A+. This book has 3 short stories in it. This book wasn't quite what I expected, but in a good way. The stories were rich and unfolded beautifully, and I couldn't put it down at all. Why do books keep gluing to my fingers? Also, the illustration inside is freaking awesome, if I say so myself. The 3rd book I read was Graceling by Kristin Cashore. If you like girls that kick butt, this is the book for you people. Seriously, buy it now. Cashore creates an entirely new world for this book, and I fell in love with it. Not to mention, there is a swoon-worthy boy named Poe, if that's what you're into. Let me read you a little snippet of this Poe I speak of. Something tender caught in her breath at the sight of him, and then he raised his eyes and looked at her, and she saw what she had not seen before. She gasped. His eyes were beautiful. His face was beautiful to her in every way, and his shoulders and his hands, and his arms that hung over his knees, and his chest that wasn't moving, because he held his breath as he watched her. And the heart in his chest, this friend. How had she not seen this before? How had she not seen him? She was blind. And then tears choked her eyes, for she had not asked for this. She had not asked for this beautiful man before her, with something hopeful in her eyes, his eyes that she did not want. Excuse me while I swoon. The 4th book I read was As You Wish by Jackson Pierce. This book was so cute. I was able to read it in a few hours because I, once again, couldn't put it down. I really have a problem, guys. In this book, Viola, the main character, wishes for something so hard that a djinn, or genie, appears to her and is willing to grant her 3 wishes. But Viola isn't ready to make 3 wishes. She doesn't know what will make her happy. let's just say that Jin is really swoon-worthy, and that leads to some happiness. The fifth book I read was Going Bovine by Libba Bray. The book is told from the perspective of a 16-year-old boy, and I really applaud Libba for doing this. There were a lot of things in this book that made it like a guy book, you know? But I, as a female, was able to enjoy it. If I only had a couple of words to describe this book, I would call it funny and thoughtful. Cameron is going through a really harsh time. He has a disease and doesn't know if he's going to make it, but he is able to make light of the situation while discovering himself. Okay guys, there's only one book left, I promise. The sixth and last book I read was Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Stiefvater. There she goes again, butchering names. Why didn't I read this book sooner? Why? It's so good! The beginning of the book was a little slow for me. I usually like books to, jump into the action and grab you. So you have to wait a little while for things to get interesting. But once they do get interesting, you won't want to put the book down. Trust me. Also, I have a confession to make. This book made me cry. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Which is really saying something, because the only other book that's made me cry lately was The Book Thief, and anyone that's read that knows what I'm talking about, am I right? Plus, another swoon-worthy guy. Yeah. Whew, that's it. Thanks for sticking around while I babble about books. I don't know the next time I'll be having book reviews because I'm pretty exhausted. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop reading. I'm just going to stop reading young adult for a little while because I feel like I might need to cry for a little while. Too much romance! So, I bet you're wondering what I'm going to read next. Let's just say it might take me a little while to read. Bye guys, I hope my reviews were helpful for you. What was that? You want me to read to you from War and Peace? Okay, it might take a little while, but here it goes. Well, Prince, Genoa and Lucca are now no more than private estates of the Bonaparte family.